Hello. I got something to tell y'all. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe. It's your girl, Maylene, at Travel-Tyme with Maylene. So, I posted a preview. I got detained by Border Patrol. Yeah, you heard me right. Your girl got detained for 30 to 40 minutes by Border Patrol. Yes. So let me do a little recap for those who probably didn't watch my last video. So I picked up a load that took me to Park, Texas. I'm probably not saying it right, but it's P-H-A-R-R, in Rio Grande City. So in my last video, I talked about being on the border. I was literally on the border. So I'm driving down the road, and United States over here, Mexico over there, right? So I went and picked up my load. I went straight to my truck stop to do my 10-hour at the Loves. And so I got up this morning at 2 o'clock, did my pre-trip. I did a thorough pre-trip because it has been known that immigrants, will hide up under your trailer or try to find a way to get somewhere on your truck so that they can cross over the border, right? And so I want to make a disclaimer before I go any further. I do not discriminate. This is not about politics. This is strictly about my experience with Border Patrol. Hopefully, this will educate and help other people out if they are ever in this situation. So, let me continue. I did my pre-trip. I hit the road at 3 a.m. this morning. It did not dawn on me that I was going to have to go through Border Patrol. Even if I did go through Border Patrol, your girl is clean. I know I might look like I mixed with a bunch of stuff, but your girl is clean. So I'm driving down the road, and on my trucker path, it's showing red, which if you use trucker path, if you see red, that means it's either construction, car wreck, traffic, something. But y'all, it's like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm looking around and I'm like, I'm the only one out here. So why is it red? And it was like bloodshot red. So I started seeing signs that said Border Patrol inspection, flashing lights. It kept saying Border Patrol, you have to go through Border Patrol, and things like that. So I go through. They stopped me. They asked me, am I a United States citizen? I said yes. Asked me if I speak English. I said yes. They got the canine dog and went around my truck. So then they asked me if I was okay with my truck and trailer getting scanned. And I said, I don't have no problem with that. And so he was like, so you are okay with that? I was like, yes, yeah, I'm okay with that. So I had to go over to where the scan was at. So another patrol officer came up, asked me the same questions. Am I a United States citizen? And do I speak English very well? And I was like, yeah. And so he informs me that he's going to tell me to slide up I need to go up through the scan 5 miles per hour all the way to the end and then stop. He's going to flash his flashlight to let me know that I'm good to go. So I'm like, okay, fine, because your girl is clean, you know. I ain't got nothing to hide. Well, you know, I ain't really got nothing to hide. So I pull forward. I go through 5 miles per hour and I pull forward. I look in my mirror. He ain't flashing no light. And I'm looking like, okay. So he comes up to the truck and he's like asking me questions. He's asking me, where did I come from? Where am I going? And what am I hauling? So your girl is nervous. I told him I was coming. I couldn't think of the city at the time, but I knew I was in Rio Grande City, you know. So I told him I picked up in Rio Grande City and I'm taking it to Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm hauling avocados. He was like, okay. He was like, well, the scan picked something up. I'm not sure exactly what it is. My other partner in there reviewing it. It's something up in your cabinets or up in the front or something. Maybe a liquid or something. I don't, you know, whatever. I was like, well, I got plenty of liquids in here, you know. He was like, well, just hold tight. I'm not sure. So he leaves. He goes back. So y'all, I'm freaking out. I'm not freaking out, but I am nervous, right? Because even though my intentions are pure and my intentions are right, doesn't necessarily mean somebody else's is. And an innocent person can be in a situation that they know nothing about. And mind you, this was my very first time going basically to Mexico, because that's where I was really at, you know. That's how close I was at, you know. So I'm like, he's asked. So then he asked me, did I stop anywhere? Who truck it belongs to? Am I the only driver? Do anybody have access to my truck? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, you know, why are they asking me all these questions? So then the other guy comes up and he was like, well, we see something on the scan. We're not sure exactly what it is. He was like, do you mind us looking? And I was like, well, I can take everything down or whatever. And so then your girl was nervous, because then I stepped to the back and I told him to come on in, and he was like, oh, we're gonna need you to step out the truck. And I was like, okay, you know, I forgot my ELD, I forgot my phone. That's how much my anxiety was at that moment, because you just never know, you know. So they had me get out the truck. I had to go up under this little canopy and sit. And of course they asked me questions again. I mean, now they're asking me more direct questions. Where I picked this truck up from? Is this my truck, or do I drive for somebody? What company is this truck? You know, where do I live? I mean, they're like 21 questions down investigating. And I'm answering the questions and things like that. And so he leaves off. Two guys ask me questions. And then they both leave off. And then another guy stands, you know, right beside me the whole time. He asked me a couple of questions too. So then they sent a lady over, which I can understand why they would send a lady, because I'm a lady. We can communicate a little bit better. And sometimes, I guess, with men, it might seem a little bit more hostile, I guess you could say. So The lady came over and she was very polite. She was like, I know they just asked you these questions, but I've got to ask you these questions again. So she asked me the same questions again. It was a little confusion. I had to deeply explain to her that I've been on the road for 30 days. I've been on for an entire month, 30 days. And I live in Georgia, but I drive this truck for Prime. And I do not live in Missouri, you know. And so she's like, okay. So they're back and forth, back and forth. They done got a probe to go look up. So apparently they seen a package, what looks like a package, in my air duct, right? And I'm like, I don't know how to get to the air duct. I don't know what you're talking about. And so they had, my air duct is closed off. So they had to get a probe to go back there to look and see if they seen anything. The scan kept showing that it was something there. So they end up getting in my truck. They literally tore my truck up. They pulled everything out of my closets, my drawers and stuff. They pulled everything out, emptied out my trash can. I mean, it was just, when I got in my truck, it was just a mess. And so the lady, while they're doing all of this, the lady is talking to me, keeping me calm and things like that. So we started talking about what they were looking for. So she said, we're looking for two things. We're looking for narcotics and we're looking for people. She explained to me that on some of the older trucks, when you see a tractor, on the tractor, there's a window up here, right? Well, on some tractors, the window is open to an air duct. And it kind of like pokes out in the back. And people hide in there to get transported into the States. So older truck drivers put barbed wire, cardboard boxes, anything that they can to keep people from trying to get inside of the air duct to hide. And I was like, I was intrigued because I didn't know. It was my first time ever going to the border. So I didn't know nothing about any of that. And so she was like, yeah. She was like, but my air duct is closed off. That is what saved me. It's my air duct is closed. You can't, there's no access back there. So she continues to talk about there's been an increase in like drugs coming over. So I asked her, questions like, well, since Trump is in office, and he's cracked down on the border, how is there more drugs coming if they're cracked down? And she was like, well, there's a mild increase, but it just depends. She was like, one moment, California would be getting a whole bunch of drugs coming in, and then we won't get anything, and then the next moment we'll be getting drugs coming in, and then they'll be getting like people coming in or whatever. She was like, the people have decreased tremendously because they're scared. They don't know what to expect. So there haven't been much of people. But she said when it comes down to drugs, people are going to find a way to move their product to make money. They're going to make their money no matter what. And so that's going to always be. She was like, you can't stop that. People are going to find a way to make their money, And she was like, we all have our political views or whatever. She said, but honestly, the border is always going to be a problem. There is no real true way of fixing it because people are going to make a way to do what they need to do to get those drugs over here. And so she said that, I have a job to do. I have rules that I have to follow from higher up and stuff. And she said, that's what I do. And she said, And so that's where they're kind of at right now. And so they explained to me that they didn't know what was up there, but they could not let me go until they knew for certain that it wasn't nothing. They didn't think it was nothing, but they couldn't let me go until they absolutely knew that it wasn't nothing. So, I was telling her, so she asked me if I traveled by myself, and I was like, yeah. I was like, this is my first time to the border. I told her that when I was coming up Highway 83, getting onto Interstate 2, I myself was like, this is kind of like dangerous, because at any time somebody can cross over and jump in front of my truck or try to jump on my truck. So I told her that I had already made a decision. If anybody came out there, I was going to hit them. I was not finna stop and see, I was just going to keep going. And she bust out laughing. And she was like, please call 911. I was like, I'll call 911, but I'm not stopping, because it's just me, and so I have to protect me. And she said, I completely understand. She was like, as a female, I travel all the time by myself. She was like, you do have to protect yourself, and things like that. So she gave me some tips that I'm going to give y'all at the end of the video. So all of that was done. They finally took everything out of my truck, and then was like, can you back the truck up and then go back through the scan? So I was like, sure. I missed a part. So before I did that, I finally got my ELD, made sure I was on duty, and then I messaged my dispatcher. So after all of that, I got back in the truck, put my ELD back on, backed up, and then went back through. So after I went back through, I automatically shut the truck off, got my ELD, got my phone, and got back at the truck, because I didn't want them to think that I was going to run off or anything like that. So after they did the second scan, after they had moved everything, they said that it was whatever they had moved that was showing up on the scan. It was confirmed. So they called themselves putting my truck back together, which was an epic fail. And then told me that I was good to go. So I left and went to my fuel solution to get my trailer fuel. That experience, the lady, she apologized. She was like, I'm sorry that you had to have this traumatic experience or whatever. And I said, well, y'all had to do your job, and it's all right. There's nothing I could not sit there and tell them no, because if I were to tell them no, then they were going to automatically assume that I had something, or that I was hiding something. So I had to let them do their job, knowing that I don't have anything, So there are a couple of rules that she told me just in case I went back down there again. So we're going to start. Number one, she said, if I ever have to go back, do not go to a truck stop. Not truck stop, a truck shop to get my truck fixed. Do not get my truck fixed down there at all. Number two, do not take any bags from anybody. She said, number three, do not pick up any hitchhikers. Number four, when you do your pre-trip, check your air ducts, which is to the top where your window up there is. It's like in the back, right? Some people have an open air duct. The new models don't have open air ducts. I think it's really the older models have open air ducts. So make sure you check your air ducts. Number 5 is another thing that I found out, is check up under your trailer, because they'll hide up under there too. Prime have these long aerodynamic things at the bottom. I doubt anybody could get up under, but I'm pretty sure if they could, they would try. And so those are the things that, if you ever have to go to the border, to make sure you check your truck. And if you go in, just make sure you don't let them folks come and try to hide in your truck or hide something in your truck. I can understand why you shouldn't take your truck to a truck shop, because you're thinking you're getting your truck fixed, and they could be hiding drugs in your truck and you don't even know it. Or they could be hiding a person in your truck or trailer and you don't even know it. So that was my experience. It will be an experience that I probably will never forget, because the way everything is going nowadays, you never know. You never know. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I really didn't. I was praying the whole time that didn't nobody, okie doke me, and nobody did, because I try to stay vigilant as possible. So that was my experience. I hope that this video was educational for anybody that's possibly maybe going down to the border to deliver. Be vigilant, pay attention. Not all people are bad people, but then again, you cannot just assume that. So be vigilant with everybody, no matter who it is. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else. I just can't believe I got stopped by. I got detained by Border Patrol, and it was like a full 30 or 40 minutes. I will never forget that. If you like this video, please comment, share, subscribe. I have lately been posting a lot more videos because a lot more stuff have been happening. I might go back and talk about other stuff from the past, so you can get to figure out where I started and where I'm going. But yeah, holla at you, girl. I'll see y'all later.